My name is Sammy. So for vlog entry number 7, I was asked to think of a film or TV show that depicts men or women in a non-traditional light. So the first thing that came to mind was the TV show that I watched. It's called The Last Ship. I actually previously mentioned this in one of my other blog posts. And the reason why this, popped into my head right away was because, I began to see changes in the show as the seasons went on. So in the first show, I saw the more traditional depictions of women. They didn't really show women that often. And to give you a little bit of background so this kind of makes sense. So The Last Ship basically centers on a Navy ship. It's called the Nathan James, and basically the military personnel on the ship are the main characters. Specifically, there's like 5 specific main characters, one of which is Kara. And Kara, she was mainly shown in the film with the guy that she was having romantic relationships with. Like, they would show them, like, talking together, something like some sort of drama about a relationship was when she was shown, which kind of disappointed me a little bit. I didn't really think too much into it, but thinking back now after like kind of reading the questions and stuff like that, it did obviously stand out to me that she was pretty much only shown when it was about the relationship. It showed all of the men being the strong, Navy SEALs that are leading the team and, helping mankind and all of that. And she was shown, doing her job on the ship, but a lot of the, like I said previously, a lot of the scenes that she was mainly in, where it was just her and maybe one other person, would be about the relationship. But then I saw as the series went on, it kind of did the opposite turn. So the women became the strong force that were leading the teams, that were, no relationships. And it was the men who now, when they would show some of the main characters, then they would be in, it would be about like relationships and things like that, and kind of more like sexualize the men as opposed to the women. So they kind of flipped roles. So now the men became the more like sex symbols of the show, whereas the women were now the strong military leaders. So I definitely think that that was one that really stood out to me thinking back. And I think this differs because in a lot of like traditional TV shows, obviously they do dramatize things for entertainment purposes, but I think women tend to take the same role in a lot of TV shows. At least in TV shows that I've watched, I have noticed that, they would take the same kind of roles, and the men would kind of form into the same roles, as like the men were the strong, kind of more masculine, didn't show very much emotion. The women were more sensitive, they were the nurturing type. So I definitely think that this show kind of changed its original like root and started depicting women as the stronger roles, as opposed to the men. And then the next question that I have is, how do these alternative images challenge prevailing norms of what men and women should be? So I think the traditional stereotypes, and this, I kind of explained this in like my last question, but I think that the stereotypes that come along with men and women are, men are supposed to be masculine, they're not supposed to show emotion, they're supposed to be kind of more like hard exterior, whereas women are supposed to be the nurturing, emotional, sensitive type, that people kind of want to go to, with their problems, are easier to talk to, things like that. And I definitely think that, for example, the show that I was in, or the show that I was talking about, it definitely made the women seem more, almost more standoffish in a way, because they were depicting them in such like strong, almost sort of masculine roles as the show went on, whereas the men were taking on the more nurturing like side. Even there were multiple scenes when the main character Captain Tom Chandler, he was even seen with his kids having like very heart-to-heart moments, getting emotional, crying. So it definitely depicted them in a different light. So I think that it definitely challenged the typical stereotypes of what men and women are perceived as, which I think is a good thing. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.